Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Paranormal Karen. It is October 4th. I know I told you I was having the Mary Magdalene lady today, but I had to bump that back. She will be on October 18th. That is a fantastic podcast. I know you can't wait to hear Paige. And now, my friend, one of my favorite skeptics, and I will tell you, I kind of write jokes about how most skeptics are not very nice. I don't know that we have real skeptics anymore. I think we have people that hate us. That's what I think as an investigator. But Wayne Poe has been, geez Louise, Wayne, have we been friends for 20 years?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
That's not exactly 20 years, but pretty close.
It could be. So we're talking to my friend Wayne Poe that made a great documentary called Hotel Camarillo that we're going to talk about. It's the 10th anniversary, October 12th. You can see it if you are in Downey. And everybody's always looking for something to do. Go see this movie in Downing, California at the Paramount, at the Black Cat Studio. I'll have all this stuff in the show notes. But Wayne, this is the 10th anniversary of Hotel Camarillo?
Yeah, we did it and finished it in 2014 and we showed it the same year.
Wow. And you were saying everybody is all spread out. Is anybody still in California?
A few people are, yeah. I'm not in touch with them, but
they're around.
A few people are. Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, Hotel Camarillo, this was because Wayne and I used to hang out in LA. We used to do investigating all the time. In fact, I think I met you at what is the ship in San Diego that we all investigated? What was that?
The Star of India.
Yes, the Star of India. There was an investigation there. That's where I first met you and a whole bunch of people. And it was sort of my first launch into groups, like investigating in groups. And then I don't know, we became Facebook friends and I always knew you. And at that time, there was a lot going on. Like, I feel like there was a lot of investigating. Have you been doing that much? I have not been doing that much investigating.
I haven't been doing that much in the past couple of years. I think the very last time I was in a investigation, well, it actually was Camarillo. I went back there in 2018. That's the last time I've been there.
Wow. And well, that Camarillo and what was the one? I was with the last group that went into the hospital, Linda Vista. All those places were great. I don't know if everything got too many people or something like that. But we used to do that all the time. I don't even know where to begin. Let's begin with Hotel Camarillo. Your documentary, which is on Amazon Prime, ladies and gentlemen, is really great. Tell people what Hotel Camarillo, what it was.
It's the place itself used to be in a mental asylum called Camarillo State Mental Hospital. And it closed in, I believe, 1997, and is now the place is a college. It's Cal State Channel Islands. It's a college now, and they've been slowly since 1997, since 2002, they've been tearing down the buildings of the asylum. But there's still a few buildings left, and they're closed off. You're not supposed to be in them. You're not supposed to be in them.
All right. But we wouldn't break the law. No,
of course not. So anyway, they've made a few of them into dorms, and they've torn down buildings and added new buildings. But most of the old buildings have been repurposed into dorms and classrooms and things. And people, from what I hear, the students still see and hear things going on, and it doesn't matter if they tore the buildings down. The land is still there, so there's still things going on. And from what I understand, I was going to go down there to film a couple new things. But from what I hear, security is very, very tight now, and they don't want too many people that aren't going to the college there on the property anymore.
Oh, I wonder if that's not just because of paranormal stuff. I wonder if that's like literally crazy keeping college students safe. Like it's such a weird time that we live in right now. I can see that. So it was a mental hospital. Now we have a mental hospital here called, they literally call it Utica Lunatic Asylum. That's what it was called because, you know, in New York, we need to insult everyone. You're all lunatics.
Yeah.
At least they called it a mental hospital for where you were. They won't let anybody in that, though. I think there was only one tour or something. I knew somebody that went on it. But mental hospitals carry the worst of the worst, don't they? Supposedly.
Oh yeah. Some of them have different levels. I mean, there's people that have real mental problems. There's people that are criminally insane, and then there's eventually what Camarillo was like. It had a developmental disabilities ward to help people, and also a drug and alcohol ward. So it branched out towards the end of its time, but in the beginning, it was just a place to house people with strong mental problems.
And again, one of my things that always shocks me is when you go to these places and you hear the horrible things that happen, horrible things that were done to the patients. And then someone says it closed in 1997. And because it sounds like we're talking about the Stone Age. Like they don't treat people like that. And then you're like, holy crap, they do.
Oh, right. Yeah. Matter of fact, I read all the history I was reading from it. The way the patients were treated came out, and so the governor of California at the time was Ronald Reagan, and so he wanted a tour of the hospital. So what they do is they give him certain places where he can go, and they clean all that up, clean the feces and urine off the floor, and put the patients in new uniforms and things like that. And this is our hospital. Meanwhile, 2 halls down, it looks like a horror show.
Yeah, and also there was that place where I think it was one of the restrooms or something where there seems to be the spirit of a young girl that the kids were attempting sexual assault and stuff like that.
Yeah, I read plenty of stories of things like that, and patients who just couldn't take that kind of abuse would actually hang themselves in some of the bathrooms by their own clothing or something. I got a lot of newspaper clippings of that, and also there were either doctors or other people. How do I say this? I don't want to say the R word on your podcast, but anyway.
I'm sure everyone knows. We'll just say sexual assault. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounds better.
Yeah, really, right? Well, anyway, there's a bunch of babies and unmarked graves buried all over that area. So it was. I mean, I've heard every kind of horror thing from that place, and I'm sure every asylum pretty much has the exact same stories.
Yes, they do. And it is a, my favorite statistic now, Wayne, forgive me because you're a man, but now in funeral parlors, they're trying not to get male embalmers because of, with the dead body.
Oh, got it. That reminds me of that Sam Kinison joke where the necrophiliacs would pay embalmers to come in after somebody died. Anyway, yeah, so pretty much the same thing.
It is. So they're looking for more women to do that, that is, of course, in mental hospitals. And I'm going to throw in a juicy story that is not mine. That someone was interviewing a guy that worked in a mental hospital, and this is actually, folks, where if it's a really rough one, like the criminally insane, this is where if people are possessed, they end up. And this guy told some horrible story about some guy came in and bent over backwards, like in a physical position that you can't do. Put his went backwards, put his head between his legs, and then ran down the hall so fast with his head between his legs, like that they couldn't catch him. And I know they said they just drug them until the body stops, and they locked him in a room, and they couldn't go in. And when they came in, it was like something was pulling him up by his feet, and he was up against the wall. Like, to me, I was like, that sounds like they're trying to do an upside down cross. But that was from someone not in our field, not a paranormal investigator. So I think that's also why that stuff gets stuck there. And then you have horrible behavior by people, and it's just a perfect environment for it.
Oh, right. Yeah. I think some things that could have happened there are so fantastic that they'll just say, well, they don't want to believe in anything paranormal. Oh, this is just a mental thing. We've seen very, very indications of this before. We just don't want to really look at it too closely, though.
Yeah, a lot of coincidences, right?
Right.
Yeah. This is just a story, a thing I'm going to float out there. I'm really not in touch with too many people. I hang out with Ryan Singer, and I'm on the or the East Coast, so I don't see that many. But I think there's a lot of, especially there was always a joke about how the paranormal community doesn't get along. Somebody's always mad at someone else for something else. And I feel like going in these spaces, a lot of people got attachments or stuff that followed them home, and all of a sudden nobody's getting along. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think a lot of, you know what I mean? A lot of people get really strange after working in this industry.
I do know very much what you mean. The matter of fact is, one time we left an investigation at Camarillo, and this couple we were with, they were normal. They were talking normal. Well, they were kind of fighting a little bit in the hospital itself. Then we were walking out, and everybody's normal, talking normally. And the man asked the woman for the keys, and she just grabbed them and threw it as hard as she could, like a baseball, and hit him in the chest. And he yelled at her and threw him back at her. And we were looking at both of them. What the hell is going on?
Right? What just happened? And
yeah,
I think it's that fast sometimes too. I think, I feel like a lot of people, I wish I had a better answer for that, but it was famous for how many people were not talking to someone else, or didn't like that group, or this group didn't do it full way. It was crazy.
Well, 90% of the cast of Hotel Camarillo don't talk to me anymore.
And you know what? That's crazy. But anyways, all right, we'll leave that there, because it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. I have a few that I don't talk to anymore either, but I just, whatever. It was a strange business, and I think it's still a little strange, but I think it's spread out so much now, and it's so big now that it's not quite like it used to be. It was pretty small when we started, Yeah,
eventually people just get real gatekeeper. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is our place to investigate. You can't go here unless you have our permission. Well, who are you? You don't own that place either. You're sneaking in the same doors and windows we are. It's just not your place.
That's hysterical. I know, and that is exactly how it is. And it was a weird territory too. It was just, I think there was always something negative hanging around that people weren't really aware of. But now, I never made it to Hotel Camarillo, and the last I heard, I got lucky enough to be one of the last ones to go in Linda Vista, which was equally as creepy. But how much time did you spend in Hotel Camarillo?
Oh, wow. I mean, I started seriously investigating for my first documentary in 2010. And already the people were telling me about it. And when I was taken there, and oh my, this is the worst of the worst. This is it's so active, and everybody in Southern California that I know of that were paranormal investigators that went there, but they wouldn't talk about it. Is, oh, you can't trespass there. You shouldn't be trespassing. Meanwhile, they were there every other weekend with everybody else. They just wouldn't say it, you know?
Wow. Did they not want to get caught, or they wanted to keep it to themselves?
Both of them. They both would. They don't want to get caught because it is officially trespassing, of course. But also, they don't want anyone else to, I guess, mess up their place or get more evidence than they did. Matter of fact, I was with one group that would put out fake notices. Hey, we're going to Camarillo tonight, even though they weren't, because they just didn't want anybody else to go. They said, well, if they're going to be there, we're not going to go, you know?
Interesting. Wow. I know these places will get very, like when I was investigating, I wasn't really investigating. I was working at Harvey's in Portland, and they have all the underground tunnels in Portland, and they have the ones where the tours go through, and those are somewhat active, but not really active. And then when we went on below the club, the tunnel below the club, it was like, we walked in and I turned on the microphone and said, "Tell me about this." And we heard a third voice yell, "Help me." Like it was so active. So I wonder if they want to keep people out too, because probably the spirits in there know them. They kind of feel like family to those people.
Right. There was an aspect of that too. They contact I'm not a psychic at all, but I've gone with people that could feel the differences and things like that. And they seem to recognize an energy or a ghost, whatever you want to call it. And they bring toys or candy or something. Of course, a ghost isn't going to be chewing on candy or anything, but it's the symbolism of it and leaving a toy, And then of course, once they leave the toy or something, you're not supposed to take it back home. You got to leave it there because, it's not yours anymore. You gave it to somebody. And if you want to bring somebody home, you leave the toy there.
I never even thought about that. One thing this is a weird side note, but one thing I am very careful of is not taking sand and people do this all the time. I don't take sand or pebbles or seashells. I don't take them anymore because I know when Hawaii, they are constantly getting boxes of sand sent back to the post office, just asking anyone to put it back because there's like a curse or you're not supposed to take it or something.
Oh, yeah.
But I never thought about that with the toys. That's interesting. Then you go home with a haunted object. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, you charged it up.
Yes. And now, Wayne, you have been, like I said, you're either, I would say, skeptical, or a piece of evidence has to be fantastic for you to really be on board. And I mean that in a very positive way, because I get a lot of pictures from people that aren't, you know what I mean? You feel bad saying, I don't think that's anything. Was Camarillo one of those places where you really had evidence where you were like, okay, I can't explain that?
Well, when I first started, I was a complete skeptic. I just wanted to do a documentary of the whole spectacle of it, really, of people investigating ghosts. I never thought I'd get a ghost on camera or anything like that. But over the years of going with these people, and if you have to be honest with yourself, I'm an open-minded skeptic now because I've seen and heard a lot of things, and they can't be explained away. They're there, and you got to be honest with yourself. It's not special effects. It's not a spider web or anything like that. I know what I saw. And unfortunately for Camarillo, we got a lot of EVPs and disembodied voices. Unfortunately for me, I have never caught anything on camera like a full body apparition or anything like that. I thought if I was ever going to capture something, it would be there. But unfortunately, I didn't see anything like that.
I've had things like that be removed. Like, I think we're not supposed to have those pictures. And sometimes you get them and then you get home and you're like, where was that one? And it's not there.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yes. And, I forgot who was that couple that they ended up in a murder suicide. The Debbie, she was
the Constantinos.
The Constantinos, which is really bizarre last name because isn't Constantine a devil or
something like that? Yeah.
yeah, that's back talking about people who had. Well, hold on one second. I'm gonna come right back and we're gonna talk about the Constantinos for a minute. Hang on, folks. Hey, everybody, Paranormal Karen, what are you doing? Why aren't you taking CBD? Listen to me. P39CBD.com. That's where you want to go. That's where I go. That is where you're going to find the best. P39CBD is committed to providing high-quality, premium-grade hemp extract products. P39CBD uses organically grown industrial hemp sourced from nutrient-abundant soils right here in the USA to ensure a therapeutic-rich CBD product. Now, if you're not using them on your pets, go take a look at the website now. CBD, especially for aging pets, is fantastic. And you know how animals react way better to natural products. Get a jump on your holiday shopping and give the gift of health. Give P39 all natural CBD. Use coupon code Karen for 20% off. Order now and get a free gift. Now listen to this list. P39 CBD is non-GMO, lab tested, no pesticides, GMP certified, all natural, family owned and operated business. I couldn't even think of anything to add to that list to make it better. P39CBD.com. Stop by and see what they're all about. And if you're in Arizona, Fountain Hills exactly, make a trip, go in and say hello. Say, I'm a Paranormal Karen listener. 16810 East Ave of the Fountains, Suite 103, Fountain Hills, Arizona. P39CBD.com. Get yours now. Okay, so the Constantinos actually lived like in Reno or something, and I heard an interview with them, and this ended up being something where it was a very mixed story, but she couldn't leave, and I think did he murder her and then kill himself? Was that what happened? I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I think the whole overall thing was there was a lot of domestic abuse on both sides.
Right.
But she eventually, as far as I know, she eventually left and was living with somebody else. And the husband, he killed that person she was living with and her and then himself.
Yeah. It wasn't her daughter. They have a kid, right? They have a kid?
Yeah, one of her daughters was helping with they grabbed Debbie Constantino and held her against her will in an apartment, and the daughter helped with that. And I don't know the details of that unless I go and read it, but that's basically what happened. And there was a barricade situation, and the police were there and everything, and he eventually killed his wife, Debbie Constantino, and then killed himself.
That's actually an interesting... here's the other thing. I heard them on a podcast like maybe a year before, and they had shamans come in. They had people cleansing the house for weeks. For weeks, they had people coming in because they were part of that. I still love the show Ghost Adventures, but there was too much challenging, and everybody I think they all have stuff following them around. And the Constantinos, this interview I heard, especially with Debbie, they finally had their house clear, and I'm guessing they went back to it or something because they weren't whatever this was, they did. I don't know. You can't see into someone's house, but this seemed like something that suddenly happened. Like, I don't know that this was years and years of this. It could have been, but I definitely felt like there was an outer influence there, especially hearing what a hard time they had clearing out their house.
I understand that, and that could be possible, but I really don't like blaming demons on domestic abuse. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. And also, there has to be a seed there of it. You know what I mean? There has to be there has to be something that doesn't just come out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. I mean, from what I heard, I didn't know them that well. I talked to them twice on the phone. Once I talked to both of them, and they were on different phones, and they were bickering on the phone, just like they do in the show. And it was kind of funny. And then I talked to Debbie by herself. And matter of fact, I even sent her a copy of Hotel Camarillo. I have no idea if she ever saw it or anything. But yeah, I talked to them twice. And then one time, this is the first time in 2010 when I saw them out at the Queen Mary. There was an event going on, and I was there. And the weirdest thing was, when I was leaving, I saw Mark Constantino in an elevator, and he was looking at me with the meanest look you ever seen in your life. And we didn't know each other. But he was looking at me like mean, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy's problem?
Right.
That's the weirdest thing,
Yeah. Well, you played too close with fire. But I got way off track on that. So, but you have captured EVPs. I don't know how many. I don't think we can really get full body apparitions. I've had a couple of things that have come through that are more like a fog where no one was smoking. It wasn't cool. Like, I think it's very hard to get that actual person standing there. But you have had EVPs and stuff like that kind of, like I said, it makes you more open minded, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the first disembodied voice, I've said this a thousand interviews, but the first disembodied voice I heard was at Linda Vista Hospital, like someone standing right behind me. And I didn't think it was a ghost. I just thought it was just somebody. And I looked behind me, and there's nobody there, And at that point, I was a complete skeptic. And I tried to explain it away for like 3 days by myself, and I couldn't figure out how to explain it away. Like maybe someone called my name from the parking lot, and it bounced off a wall and a telephone pole, and it came in the room, something stupid like that, But I couldn't explain it away, So I had to eventually confess it.
I have to, that makes me laugh because when I met you on the Star of India, I brought a friend of mine who was a reporter, and we were trying to pitch a TV show at that time. And I don't know where this tape is now. I've lost everything. I don't care. But there was a takeover. Somebody got taken over. And I remember he jumped up and he said, something scratched him behind the neck, which we all should have known. That's an entrance point. And so halfway through, we're doing an EVP session, and then someone goes, everybody's not all right. Check on everyone. So they put you flash the light because you're in the dark. You put the flashlight on the person's shoes, and when you get the flashlight, you're supposed to say, I'm Karen and I'm okay. So sure enough, we come around to this kid, Ramiro, and he is out. He cannot talk. I don't know how many times you've seen walk-ins, but like it's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so everybody jumps up and goes, get him off, because you got to get him off the location. And I remember my friend's voice. I was just watching this and I was like, oh, and my friend's voice went up about 10 octaves. And I remember him going, what happened to Ramiro? What happened to Ramiro? Like he kept saying it over and over. And it really spooked him. And the next day, he called me with every excuse what it could have been. They are in a business and they want to start more business, so they made it look like that and blah blah. And I was like, it was really, I think people do that. I think that is the natural reaction, is to explain it away, especially your first time.
Oh, I remember that day. As a matter of fact, they took him up above. We were below somewhere in the ship, and they took him above to get him outside, And I remember looking up from the stairway. I remember looking up, and for the first time ever in another investigation, I had this creepy feeling in the back of my neck. People talk about. That was the first time. It lasted maybe 2 seconds, but it happened. And then that's the first time it ever happened in an investigation before. Wow. And that was weird. And there's another thing that's happened at that same time. I got a recorder. Yeah, I noticed when I started, everybody would hold their recorder next to them, So I didn't want my recorder to be in the same spot, because why would you want 10 recordings in the exact same spot, So I put mine in front of me, like maybe 4 feet in front of me, in the middle of the ship, and I heard we we were discussing what sounds we were hearing. We heard someone said water running. And then on my recorder, when I got home, I heard my own voice say water running.
Oh.
But I didn't say it, and it would have my mouth would have to be right next to the recorder for it to be that close. But it was my voice saying that.
You know, I had an investigation where I was doing it with my friend, and we were in this garage, and we were, we weren't even doing EVPs at that time. We were just talking, and we had the recorder on, and something mimicked her voice and spoke over her. So it was like her talking over herself. And that is the freakiest feeling right there, when you're like, hey, I didn't say that. Something's mimicking you. I guess now with AI, you could do that all the time. But
oh yeah,
but back then when you didn't know, you're like, who's using my voice? That's crazy.
I saw something like a walk-in. This is on David Oman house is different from other haunted investigations. You know, there's a little bit of showmanship there sometimes. Oh, yeah. But I saw this.
David Oman is the house, because I was in touch with him for a little while, and then when I moved out, I lost touch with him. But the house isn't the Manson house, but it's on the Manson land. Is that right? Something like that?
Yeah. It's like I forgot how far is 150 feet, or he's going to kill me for getting this wrong. But anyway, it's a few. It was like a little ways away from where the Manson murders actually happened. That house is no longer there. There's a giant mega mansion there, but he's a few doors down from it, and for some reason he says the ghosts or spirits collected his house for some reason, and this I saw this one clip because he's got 30 cameras in his house to capture any paranormal happenings. And I saw this one clip where he's just having a normal tour, showing people around, and this woman was walking out of one bedroom. Then she stops and she backs up, and then slams her face in one of these closet doors and starts screaming. And everybody's going, what the hell is happening? And so they turn the lights on and ask her what's going on. She said something was yelling in her ear and trying to control her or something. So I don't know if that's I don't know what that is. I mean, I've been there to Omen's house a lot and captured a lot of EVPs and stuff. And I'm sorry for getting off on a tangent, but
no, this is good. I mean, it's all interesting to me.
He has a second floor where his laundry room is. The first time I was there, he hates ghost boxes, ITC. He hates ghost boxes, but I took mine in there anyway, and it wouldn't work. It stopped working.
Oh.
Then the second time I went there with a different ghost box that he doesn't like. I went to the same place, and it stopped working too.
Wow. Well, I only have one story with that place, and my friend Christine was there, and you know Christine, and she was calling me from there, and I couldn't find this place for the life of me, and I was describing I see this house and this number. And she was like, yes. And now we're in the middle of the street. Look, we're waving. And I was like, no one is in the middle of the street. Like, they knew where I was, but I couldn't find them. And I had to give up because I was like, something is taking me everywhere but there.
It doesn't help that Cielo Drive cuts into two different places that say Cielo Drive.
Yeah.
And one of them is a private road, and that's where the David Oman house is.
Okay, yeah. They came all the way out into the street or something. Christine came out and she's like, we're right here. We're waving. We're the only, and I couldn't find them. I eventually just went home. And I was like, that's not,
yeah.
But yeah, I think that place is super, super, is he still doing tours and stuff? Have people invested?
He is. Yeah, he is. Even, I guess, it's a pretty, whatever, I don't know, whatever the price is, but you can tout his entire house and do an investigation for your TV show or whatever you want to do,
Wow. I kind of want to say good for him, as long as he's not too haunted. Good for him.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Okay, so Hotel Camarillo. Now, this is it. I know there's a couple of. I just saw a video titled this also. but they say it isn't, or it might be what Hotel California by the Eagles was written about. Tell us that.
Right. That's why I called. That's why I called the documentary Hotel Camarillo, because there's a rumor that Hotel California song was written about Camarillo State Hospital, because one of the members of the Eagles spent time there for drug rehabilitation, but the Eagles themselves completely deny that rumor.
You know, I hear that song all the time, and it fits.
Yeah, and you know the weird thing is almost every time we were going to Camarillo for an investigation, that song would come on the radio either before we got there or after we were leaving. Almost without. It's almost not even funny anymore, because we just turn on the radio and wait for it, and then there it comes.
Wow. Do you think it's a copyright problem, if that's true? Is that why they swear it's not true?
No, they just they don't want anything to do with paranormal or that kind of thing. They said it's about the excesses of living in California. That's what the song's about. It's not about a haunted asylum or anything like that.
Oh, it's not about a haunted asylum. It's about high rent. What?
Basically, you're basically right.
Wow.
I don't think, I'm not sure if, I'm not going to say which member it was, or because I don't really know for sure, but maybe they don't want anybody to know someone was there for drug rehabilitation, you know.
That sounds more like it. Or, you know, maybe someone was there for mental health issues and they don't want to.
True.
That, you know, I was thinking the other day how, you know, we used to, this is not a good thing, but remember when we used to hide people used to hide their crazy aunt in the attic, or
oh, exactly. I that was even more in the research that I read for the documentary. Husbands can say their wives are hysterical, and they can have them, thrown in the asylum.
That is a feminist fact that most people don't know, and that was not done away with until I think the 60s or 70s, but they would if a guy didn't want a divorce, he wanted to marry his secretary, he just drop off the wife. Isn't that shocking?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, it's just strange. These people have had mothers and sisters, you know. I mean, the wife, well, screw her, I don't want her anymore, throw her in the asylum. You know.
Not to get off on a feminist rant, but I can't believe you're younger than me. But when we were kids, our mothers couldn't have their own bank account without a man's name on it. They couldn't have a credit card. Isn't that like shockingly bizarre?
Oh my dad was like that with my mom. As a matter of fact, she wanted her own what do you call it? No, it wasn't a bowling. She wanted her own bowling ball, for instance, right? And she put her name on it for the ball. She wanted her own bowling ball, separate from my dad, right? Mm-hmm. So she put her own name on it, and my dad says, I go with her to put my name on it too. And so he did. And you know why? Because I'm Wayne Poe Jr. And he's Wayne Poe. So he got his name on her bowling ball anyway.
And your mom is such a pistol.
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, I just found out the reason a woman would take a man's last name was so everyone knew whose property she was. Oh my God!
I could see that. Yeah, if the man dies suddenly, she's got, I don't know if that's ownership, automatic ownership or what.
The woman was his property. That his wife was.
Oh, I see.
But anyway,
I'm sorry.
We got on a weird feminist. Forget it. We're gonna get off the feminism and come back, folks. We'll be right back with more Hotel Camarillo. Hey, everybody, I'm so excited. The Psychic Stand-Up Show has dates all over. We've moved into small theaters. And as my friend said, for 20 years, you've been shaking that Jiffy Pop on the burner and it's popping. And I am so excited. So I will be at Bull Run in Shirley, Massachusetts on October 4th and 5th. That is actually sold out. I just wanted to brag about that. It sold out before we even got the posters out. But I will be back in Shirley, Massachusetts next year. October 10th is a big show in Pittman, New Jersey. That is a 1,000-seat theater, and tickets are going fast. We're going to sell that out on a Thursday, so be sure you get your tickets if you're anywhere near Pittman, New Jersey. That, along with October 11th in Emus, Pennsylvania, and then on the 12th in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. All of those shows, you can get tickets at comiccure.com. I'm so excited to sell out that theater on the 10th. So if you're near Pittman, go to that show. October 17th through the 19th, I will be in Waterfield. Is it Waterfield or Waterford, Michigan, at a club called One Night Stands. That is going to be excellent. One Night Stands, Waterford, Michigan, right outside of Detroit. Then you can see me November 2nd at the AKE Gallery in Cortland, New York. Also December 13th, I just added Springdale, Arkansas at the Jones Center. So you can get tickets there, and more dates to come, but hope to see you at these shows. And if you do come to the show, be sure and wait after and say hello and give me a big hug, or maybe a small 8-ball of cocaine or herpes or something. Just come say hello. All right. Thanks, everybody. Back to the show. Let's get back to Hotel Camarillo. Okay. So in this documentary, which I love, you go through the whole thing of the history, which is still fascinating. I don't even know that we can touch on how fascinating it is and how shocking it is. And then you go in with real investigators. What is your favorite part of the documentary? I mean, you had to look at this forever and edit it. You must be like,
oh yeah. I mean, once it was out, I was already tired of watching it. For the editing. But my favorite part is, and favorite part and frustrating part is the same one. There was one EVP that we captured. We were there like 2 a.m. one time. And some of the doors were open. We thought it was a trap because we go to this one section and the doors are always closed and sometimes locked. We couldn't get in. But this time, all the doors were open, even to a section we've never been in before. I said, "This looks like a trap." What's going on? But we were outside the door discussing what we should do, and I didn't. None of us heard this at the time, but you can hear a clear child's voice saying, "I'm cold," like that.
Oh.
And not only that, is this happened. I left a recorder in the place we didn't go to before, and we walked back outside. It was captured on that one, but it was kind of like it was far away, right? So when I got to the camp, I still had my camera rolling while we were outside discussing what to do. It was clear as day right there. Like it was like where someone was standing among us saying, "I'm cold," like trying to tell us, you know what I mean?
Like, close the door, I'm cold.
Yeah. Wow. And it was one of the most awesome DVPs I ever captured. But the trouble was when I was putting the documentary together, I had to add "mama" because everybody else in my group said they were hearing "mama, I'm cold," and I did not hear "mama." I still don't hear "mama," and I'm really frustrated. I actually had to put. I did it for the people that were there. I said, "Okay, I'll put "mama," even though I don't hear that. But I hate it because I don't hear it.
Well, you know what's funny? My hearing is so bad. EVPs are. I stick to pictures now because my hearing is so. If I hear an EVP, that's a huge EVP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is funny that everybody heard something different. That's kind of that's a little creepy.
Yeah, and the EVP is so loud. I mean, if it was a disembodied voice, none of us heard it though, because we were there at 2 a.m. We were whispering because we're a place we're not supposed to be at 2 a.m. You know, and definitely didn't have any kids with us, you know, so we should have heard something, and no one heard. I mean, I was there. No one heard anything like that when it happened.
And I can't remember. I haven't seen this in a while. Was this the one where somebody scared that there was a couple in there? I think he passed away. He used to teach a ghost hunting investigation class, and somebody came up behind him and scared the crap out of them. Not a ghost. But
that was Sid Schultz. As far as I know, he's still alive. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, Sid.
Yeah, but I don't know. I haven't talked to him since the Hotel Camarillo came out. But anyway, yeah, that was him. I was there. I think that was the same day we caught that "Mama, I'm cold" thing. I was holding the camera for like 2 hours or more, filming stuff. We're not really seeing much of anything. Every once in a while, something really interesting would happen. I finally turned the camera off, right? And we're sitting there, and that's when that happened, where he was standing in the doorway where we're about to do another EVP session at another spot, and he looked out in the hallway and he goes, ah! Really, I mean, super loud. And I jumped up. I had a knife with me. We thought it might be homeless people or something, or who knows,
Mm-hmm.
I had a knife in my hand. So what the fuck is going on? And we calmed him down enough to tell us that someone was there. And we were just talking about feminism and stuff. But anyway, we left all the women in the room where we were and investigated we looked around the building for someone for the bad guy, right? Meanwhile, the bad guy could have stuck back behind us and killed everybody. But we didn't think about that at the time. But we looked around the building and there was nobody there. And matter of fact, there was glass on the floor. So if someone did run away, we didn't even think about it at the time. We would have heard the glass breaking while they're running,
Oh, that's one of the biggest scaries. Is a real person is scarier than finding something's a ghost.
Oh, exactly. That's why all the groups I've been in, when we go into places we're not sure of, we look around and we say, "Hello, this isn't the police. This is we're just looking for ghosts." As silly as that sounds, you kind of want to do that and see if anybody comes out, or they get the fuck out of here. Or, okay, we're gone. You know what I mean?
That's a great idea. If you are the police, hey, we're just looking for ghosts. Come on out.
Yeah. Matter of fact, for Camarillo, there is campus security there and sheriffs and stuff. If they find you if they suspect you're in the buildings, they won't even go in. Even the police don't even want to go in those buildings. What they'll say is they open the doors there. If you don't come out now, we're sending the dogs in. You better get the hell out now. Oh. We're sending the dogs in, but they won't go in themselves.
I bet the dogs wouldn't go in. So it's really
might not.
It's really still that dark and that full of like heaviness that people just nobody wants to go in.
You know what? I'm not sure because, like I said, the last time I was there, it was in 2018. And before that, when I was doing the documentary, we were investigating before the documentary, you're guaranteed 5 to 10 EVPs that are Class A every time you go there. I mean, that's how active it was, But we went there in 2018. We stayed there for 2 or 3 hours. I didn't get one EVP. Nothing. It was completely empty.
Wow. Well, I know Linda Vista Hospital, which was also kind of one of those places. But I really do think the spirits or whatever is there, they do get used to, and they can almost be offended. Like, we're not performing for your camera kind of thing.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Because the worst stories that you hear about Linda Vista really happened when, like, I don't know, some people were scouting it out for a music video and the girl like passed out and lost time and it was the next day or something like that. Like, I think it's more when you're just, like I said, I don't think they want to dance or perform for us. Some of them do, some of them don't. But
yeah,
also Linda Vista, they knocked that down and they turned that into senior housing. And
yes,
they said, that whole place, they had Buddhist priests come in, they had ministers, they had Catholic priests, they had everybody trying to get whatever was in there out. And what happened was when the seniors moved in, same thing, just things really being horrible to them. And they said whatever it was really picking on the Mexican residents.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they kept saying it was really the Latino people that were getting harassed. And which is interesting because I think the thing about Linda Vista was people always make the joke, why do all ghosts speak English? But they don't. A lot of them spoke Spanish.
Yes. Matter of fact, one of the women that were there, my first documentary, she was telling me how my name kept coming up during investigations, even though I wasn't even there for some reason. That was the whole big thing about the first thing. But she said that when they would switch to Spanish, with doing the ghost box, when they'd switch Spanish, asking, are you here? But in Spanish, they'd get Spanish responses.
Mm. Hmm. I went to a strange place in Illinois. You kind of have to love and fear a place where no one else has been, where you're not sure.
Right.
Because you can catch whatever is there is probably not that in tune to what you're doing. And if they haven't had other ghost people come in, you get a mistake EVP, which I got one in Indianapolis, in a place right outside of Indianapolis that was crazy haunted, and they were all speaking Russian, and I had to call my friend Kira, and I was like, "What are they saying?" Right? So yeah, that's one of those misconceptions. Why do all ghosts speak English? They don't. They don't.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to communicate with you. So if you're predominantly speaking English, they'll probably speak English,
Yes, if you're speaking Spanish, they're probably happy to hear Spanish.
Right.
But
right.
What are some of the stories? Have you heard any stories of like what the college kids when they're around that area?
Actually, can I ask you for like maybe a 3-minute break?
Sure. Hold on. I halted that, folks. There was background noise. I appreciate you quieting the neighbors, Wayne.
Okay.
So I want to know, tell me about, I know it's a little off topic, but I want people to see Hotel Camarillo and see the whole thing. Like, I don't want to quite chop it up. How many times were you in Linda Vista?
How many times was I in Linda Vista?
Yeah, like the Linda Vista Hospital. You were there quite a few times, weren't you?
Oh, I was there. Yeah, I was there a lot. I got introduced to Linda Vista Hospital when I was following 3 a.m. Paranormal. I wasn't exactly following them at the time. They introduced me to the Paranormal Housewives, and they were just starting, and they wanted to do like a sizzle reel at Linda Vista Hospital. So they invited me over to film for my documentary, and I said, "Oh, sure, that'd be great." And that was like 2010, and that lasted maybe almost a year and a half, almost 2 years, and then some major drama happened, and I decided not to go anymore.
Right.
And then yeah, it was a major drama.
Yes, and also the Paranormal Housewives. There's like 2 or 3 of them now, right? There's a bunch of them.
I think there's 3. Yeah, there's Aaron and there's Kristen.
No, I mean there's a couple of groups that call themselves that now.
Oh,
I think there's a couple that do, but they actually they were up for a TV show, and I think they sold they turned it into a cartoon, right?
I don't know about the cartoon, but the Paranormal Housewives did appear on Ghost Adventures not too long ago.
I think
the ones that I've talked about.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard that name a couple of times. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm living in 2 dimensions and have seen them in both dimensions. Yeah, that's a really Linda Vista to me. Again, that was a hospital, and that has that feeling when you walk through that files are open on desks, cabinets are open, coffee cups are left out. Like, it's like when they close it, they just say, "All right, everybody go." Like, they had a part that is kind of blocked off because it has all the clients' files in it from. Everybody's got to be. Yeah, it's crazy. Do you know anything about how they close places? Do they just say everybody go home at 5 and that's it?
I'm not sure exactly, but I've heard that a lot, and I've seen that a lot. There's a place near next to me called Rancho Los Amigos. They had old buildings that they've torn a lot of them down right now, and they're making apartments or something. I don't know what they're doing. But there's one section where there's this files people's, social security numbers, all personal information, all about their illnesses, all over the floor. Anybody can come and pick up and sell like fake IDs on the corner, and they just leave all that stuff there. It's supposed to be secured in cabinets and stuff. Now it's all for anyone that wants to see, all over the place. And then they leave equipment there, like beds and wheelchairs and things people could actually use. They leave them there to rot, because I guess the hospital owns the property, and they just tell everybody, well, Friday's your last day. Don't come in Monday because we're closing everything, and they lock the doors. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And and literally that stuff sits there. If no one breaks in, it sits there like a vault, and things just rot away there.
Yeah, and also leaves like an apocalyptic feel. Like it feels like you're in The Walking Dead. Like everybody just
Right.
to leave.
Yeah, exactly. Matter of fact, this is actually true. This was in the newspaper. The sheriff's office would use the buildings for practicing raids and things like that, and Marines would use it too. And they found human remains in one of the old freezers that somebody just forgot and left it there.
Oh my God! Can you imagine how bad that must smell?
Oh yeah. And there's nobody there to complain because all the buildings are closed, so it must have reeked for a very, very, very long time.
I know, and hopefully that freezer was like airtight. Well, I know when you go through a tour of Linda Vista, is it Linda Vista or yes, where they have the crematory where they open it up and there's dust, and the guy picks it up and goes, "This is people's teeth," and you're like,
yeah.
What? This is people's remains, and it's like, wait, leave them there.
I'm not 100%. That might be a story. I'm not 100% sure they had a crematorium at Linda Vista. That might have been something else.
It was somewhere.
Well, I mean, I think they called it that. They called it that at Linda Vista. They called it that was where people were burned up. But I don't think that was really true when the hospital was in operation. I don't think that was a crematorium.
There was something, because it was still, maybe it wasn't Linda Vista, but there was some place where that was, for some reason I'm thinking it's a ship, but that doesn't make sense. But it was the stove, like the stove. I must have been somewhere else, because it was like the whole setup was still there, and then they.
Oh wow!
And so maybe it was somewhere else. Maybe I'm missing California too much talking to you. All right, this was awesome. Tell everybody. So this is October 12th. So this is coming out. Is it the 1st or the 4th? October 12th. People that say you don't have anything to do, now you have something to do. Tell everybody where to go, Wayne.
It's going to be at 12830 Paramount Boulevard in Downey, California. It's called the Black Cat Studios. We're just having a small gathering to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Hotel Camarillo. I'll show us a new video, maybe 10 or 15-minute video, and then we can exchange ghost stories. There will be people there that were in the documentary. You can ask some questions. You can share your own ghost stories. Bring your own pictures. There's no rules about it. Just that we're just going to hang out for a couple hours and say, hey, happy 10th to Hotel Camarillo.
And should they see it beforehand, or you're going to do a showing of it?
I could, if people want to see it there, I could do a showing of it. But yeah, if you want to see it beforehand, just go to Amazon Prime and look up Hotel Camarillo, and it's right there.
And it's so good, people. It's so good, folks. Go grab it. All right, Wayne. Well, it was great talking to you again. And if people want to follow you on Facebook, just Wayne Poe on Facebook?
Yes. Then I believe I'm Mr. Poe's Morgue on Instagram.
That's right. Mr. Poe's Morgue. That's right. I love it. All right, my friend. Well, thanks for coming on. And it's good to catch up with you. Hopefully next year I'll be hanging out with you there.
That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Paige talking about Mary Magdalene. That will be next week. Everybody have a nice haunted October. I think I'm out on the road. Anyways, look for my calendar. It's coming up. I need to put an ad out with my calendar on it. Thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media. Everybody have a great day.
Paranormal Karen. She's a spooky kind of queen. Paranormal Karen.